Hello, today I will be deliberating a lecture on faith healing and disability. I have primarily divided my lecture into 8 sections. They are: firstly, I will explore the meanings of faith healing and disability. Secondly, I will point out the various types of disability. Thirdly, I will try to highlight the concept of faith healing in India. Fourthly, I will highlight on the concepts of faith and disability. I will then move on to the 5th section of my lecture, where I will elaborate on the theological framework on disability inclusion. Sixthly, I will try to expatiate on a few case studies on faith healing among the differently abled. In the 7th section of my lecture, I will highlight the alternative healing system to treat disability, and finally, in the 8th section of my lecture, I will point out the notions of the religious text on disability, which will be followed by a conclusion. The word faith is derived from the Latin word fides, an old French word fiat. Faith means the belief structure of the people. It is the belief of the people that makes them trust the world of unknown. The base of religion is the faith of the people. It is on the basis of faith that people hopes for something. It acts as an assurance for the things that human beings hopes for. To quote the words of Max Lucado, faith is not the belief that God will do what you want. It is the belief that God will do what is right. Thus, faith is not based on empirical evidence. Rather, it's beyond the sensory capacity of human beings dwelling in the society. Faith healing is a concept that originated since time unknown. Early civilizations of human beings were unable to predict about the various natural calamities, for which they started to believe that there exists a supernatural force which guides and controls the lives of the human beings. Thus, it was the fear of the unknown that led people to believe in the concept of religion. Further, in the growth of society, when people fell ill, the cause of illness and deaths were unknown to them. This made faith healers or spiritual healers to originate in the society, who made the people believe that healing through faith was beneficial. Faith healing in the modern century is followed by many religions by which positive results are experienced by people. In the work of Rachel Allen, it was noted that traditionally disability has been understood in negative terms. Disability has been perceived as tragedy, an object for charity, and as the disabled person's problem. This has been described as the medical or individual model of disability. The social model perspective of disability advocates disability as a form of social oppression. The Union of Physically Impaired Against Segregation has defined disability as the advantage or restriction of activity caused by a contemporary social organization which takes little or no account of people who have physical impairments, and this excludes them in the mainstream of social activities. Disability is therefore a particular form of social oppression. According to World Health Organization, disabilities is an umbrella term covering impairments, activity limitations, and participation restrictions. An impairment is a problem in body function or structure. An activity limitation is a difficulty encountered by an individual in executing a task or action, while a participation restriction is a problem experienced by an individual in involvement in life situations. Therefore, faith healing is considered to be an important method to bring about healing to the people who suffers from disability. Different religions have different ways and means by which the disabled individuals in the society are made to feel differently abled. Disability is a growing phenomenon in a country like India. Increasing cases of disability is noticed in the recent century. There are different types of disabilities present in the society. A few categories of disabilities are physical impairments affecting movement such as muscular dystrophy, post-polio syndrome, spina bifida and cerebral palsy. Lack of or amputation of limbs or other body parts. Sensory impairments such as visual or hearing impairments. Neurological impairments such as epilepsy or dysautonomia. Cognitive impairments such as autism or Down syndrome. Psychiatric conditions such as depression and schizophrenia. Some disabilities are not obvious to outside observers. These are termed invisible disabilities. An invisible disability is a disability that is not always immediately apparent to the casual observers. That is, it is not visible to the naked eye. A person may be impaired either by a correctable condition such as myopia or by an unchangeable one such as cerebral palsy. For those with mild conditions, related impairments can improve or disappear with the application of corrective devices. More serious impairments call for adaptive equipment. For example, those with joint problems may not use mobility aids on good days or at all. Invisible disabilities can also include chronic illnesses such as renal failure and diabetes. Let us now focus into how the concept of faith healing is projected in India. Shahbaz Siddiqui, Kimberly Lacroix and Anup Dhar pointed out in the seminal work named as Faith Healing in India, the cultural quotient of the critical, that faith healing convolutes the map by introducing a form of service that is not psychiatric and is also not strictly psychological, that is not institutional centric and that is not clinical in the modern Western sense. It opens up a mental health map hitherto marked by the dyad of either the institutional and the communal or the psychiatric ward and the individual clinic. Faith healing sites also appear to be at the core of the institutional and the clinic. It is as if such sites are neither wholly institutional nor clinical in the private sense, which is why one needs a better description and an understanding of this cusp. In other words, faith healing offers not just to mainstream psychology a form of gendered subaltern criticality, a criticality bordering on a passive form of resistant differing. It also offers to the existing critical psychology tradition in India a newfangled quandary. Numerous researchers conducted various studies related to this field. Siddiqui and others noticed that in Mehndipur, a small town in Rajasthan, there is a very famous temple known as Balaji Temple. It is believed that people who are possessed with evil spirits are healed in the Balaji Temple. I would like to quote from the work of Siddiqui and others where Ram recounts the case of Shanti, Paikari, the demon woman of Kanyakumari. By the time the spirits left Shanti, she had been branded, beaten, her arm was broken, and paper had been repeatedly put in her eyes. As a result of these ministrations, she suffers from headaches and backaches. The cost of cleansing in certain cultures is quite high, particularly high for women, and even higher when cultures create their own cultures of cleansing. What is the relation between cleansing and healing, between spirit extraction and relief from suffering? The process of extraction leading to healing seems uncannily akin to the biomedical model insofar as surgical extraction of the pathological part is seen as leading to cure or alleviation of pain. Therefore, faith healing in India is considered to be an important element. Most of the populations in India are largely out of touch from education, thus, it is mainly the religious centers and their narratives related to healing that attract them to go in for treatment in these faith healing centers. Faith of the people is believed to cause many miracles in the past and the present. When people are left with no other alternative options in the medical field, then it is the faith of the people which makes them to have a hope that there might be a way to treat them from their disabilities on the basis of their strong faith. In Christianity, faith is the basic source to obtain healing. Linda Mayer, in her article on the value of faith for individuals with autism spectrum disorders, recollects that spiritual training may be considered the highest form of education. In relation to autism, she noted that there must be 9 ways to develop one's faith and to deal with disability autism. They are: number 1, compassion. To make a difference in the life of an individual with an autism spectrum disorder, you will need to go beyond what is convenient and easy. Number 2, understanding of the spectrum of differences. Number 3, acceptance. Welcome all and those who accompany them by your positive verbal and non-verbal behavior. Number 4, respect. The individual gifts each person brings to his or her relationship with God and the community and their privacy. Number 5, support. Until everyone can take advantage of naturally occurring supports. Number 6, tolerance. To recognize and allow for deficits. Number 7, patience, while skills are repeatedly practiced. Number 8, willingness. To hear and learn about challenges, how people learn, and when and how you could respond or not respond in some cases. Number 9, high expectations. Know that all can learn the necessary skills to become full and contributing members of the community. One of the well-known disorders found among many individuals is autism. Autism is a developmental disorder that impacts an individual's ability to effectively communicate and understand reciprocal social behavior. Autism is considered to be a spectrum disorder, ranging from mild to severe due to the diversity of expression that is associated with the disorder. Autism spectrum disorders are challenging developmental disorders that significantly impact individuals, their families, and society at large. Many a times the patients are undertaken in the Christian healing methods, faith healing, which is believed to heal the patients faster. It generates the hope and a willingness to survive as the faith of the people is enhanced in believing that healing powers will be showered on them. Thus, faith healing is a way out to bring about healing to the people suffering from disabilities. There are many faith communities who provide a base for the healing of the people who are disabled in some way or the other. Each and every religious community has their own way of providing healing. The religious traditions are thus pluralistic in nature. The theological framework regards that God accepts all, calls all, and can use all, thereby helping people suffering from disabilities to heal from their impairments. Reverend Rosalind Norman McKinney, in her article named as Disability Through a Lens of Inclusion, a theological framework for welcoming all, noted that the National Council of Churches of Christ Committee on Disabilities has developed a statement that can be adopted and applied within many religious traditions as a lens through which the theological response to disability can be viewed. The overarching guiding principles excerpted from it are the following. All people are created in the image of God. God creates all human beings in the divine image or likeness. This image is not a measurable characteristic or set of characteristics. God's image is reflected uniquely in each person. All people are called by God. God calls all human beings to express the divine image through their unique characteristic. Each person's characteristic, including disabilities, are inseparable and valuable features of the unique, indivisible person. All people have special gifts. God supplies all human beings with the unique gifts needed to obey the divine call. The gifts God has given to each person are needed by all other people, and no one is indispensable or unnecessary. All people are invited to participate in God's ministry. God invites all human beings to rely on and participate in the ministry of the church. God continually empowers each member to reflect the divine image in ways that will serve and benefit the church and the broader community. She penned down that the human community in all its forms is accountable to God to protect their civil and human rights. And God requires communities of believers to give spiritual and moral leadership to society in protecting these rights. Therefore, in the light of these theological principles, people are made to understand and realize that no one is treated partially in the eyes of God. God has created all His followers in their own unique features, which the others are devoid of possessing. Thus, people with disabilities must not be secluded and kept apart from the society. Rather, they must be made a part of the society, and it's by this way that we can follow God's call upon us. There are various researches which are going on all over the world to portray the relationship between faith and healing of the people with disabilities. Kate Blatz, Doris Anne Morse, and Anita Stephens in their article named as Children with Autism and the Mass, Tips for Parents and Teachers, pointed a few case studies which are as follows. Michael has autism. Doris is a cantor at a church. While she rehearsed with the organist, her sons, E.J. and Michaels roam around the altar area. After that exposure, she noticed a marked difference in Michael's comfort level and calmness at Mass. She also discovered that Michael's behavior was much better if they sat in the first row, with no other people or distractions between him and the altar. Aaron, a 6-year-old boy with Down syndrome, and David, a 9-year-old boy who has multiple disabilities, attend regular Sunday school classes, though on different campuses, at North Heights Lutheran Church in suburban St. Paul's, Minnesota. In spite of having substantial communicative and intellectual limitations, which sometimes present socialization challenges in the inclusive setting, the boys and their classmates benefit from inclusion, growing in the ability to maintain friendship with others and in their Christian faith. Therefore, if proper faith is entrusted, then one can assure that healing benefits can be accrued through faith healing. There are many occasions where biomedicine fails, and it is the alternative healing systems which provide healing to the individuals. Ayurveda among Hinduism is one such popular alternative healing system which provides healing benefits to the people across the globe. According to Ayurveda, learning or acquisition of knowledge is a result of successive and complex interaction and coordination of indriyas, that is cognitive and motor organs, indriyartha, that is sense organs, man, that is psyche, atma, and buddhi, that is intellect. Above all, the functioning of these factors is governed by three dosha, that is vata, pitta, and kapha, and triguna, sattva, raja, and tama, in a specific coordination and balance. For people who suffer from dyslexia or other cognitive disabilities, can heal faster by Brahmi. It improves visual information of the human beings. It retains the memory of an individual, promotes concentration, attention, as well as perceptions of the people. In a clinical study on the effects of Brahmi on human memory, 76 adults aged between 40 and 65 years took part in a double-blind, randomized placebo-controlled study in which various memory functions were tested and levels of anxiety measured. The results showed a significant effect of the Brahmi on the test for the retention of new information. Also demonstrated a significant memory promoting effect in the animal models of Alzheimer's disease. Manduka burning, it enhances the memory retention ability of the people. It also helps in the nerve growth factor of an individual. It decreases oxidative stress among the people. Ashwagandha, in an experimental study, daily administration of ashwagandha root extract for 6 days significantly improved memory consolidation in mice receiving chronic electroconvulsive shock treatment. Jyotismati, it is widely used in the indigenous medical systems to treat brain-related disorders. Thereby, there are various other Ayurvedic treatments by which people's disabilities can be brought under control, and it can help them to gradually recover from their current state of being. Another alternative healing system is the traditional Chinese medicine. It is a healing system from China. While traditional Chinese medicine is regarded as an alternative medicine system in the West, in China and other Asian countries, it is practiced widely by the locals. Traditional Chinese medicine is based on the balance of opposing elements, yin and the yang in the body, as well as their harmony with the environment around it. Traditional Chinese medicine treatments includes the use of Chinese herbs, acupuncture, meditation, Chinese massage therapy, mental and physical disciplines such as Tai Chi and Qigong, and nutritional therapy. Practitioners will attempt to realign the body's balance using a combination of treatments before suggesting surgery by a Western doctor. Another healing mechanism to treat the differently abled is Tai Chi. Tai Chi is considered to be highly effective in treating the patients of arthritis. Tai Chi also offers plenty of other benefits. Recent studies have found that the slow, graceful exercise, which originated several thousand centuries ago as a martial art, can improve balance, reduce stress, and offer arthritis pain relief. A study released by researchers at Tufts Medical Center in Boston found that Tai Chi can specifically reduce the pain and physical impairment of people with severe knee osteoarthritis. Therefore, healing of people suffering from any kinds of disabilities is sometimes done with the use of alternate healing systems. In many occasions, a person born with disability is brought to the normal rhythm of life with the use of alternative healing mechanisms. mechanisms. 。 Each and every religion has its own specific religious text. It caters to the all-round life and activities of human beings on the earth. It guides men in times of crisis, as it is believed to provide the philosophy of life. Religious texts of nearly all the religions discuss a point of disability. Bhagavad Gita. In the translation of Edwin Arnold, it was noted that the Gita is a doctrine of universal truth. Its message is universal, sublime, and non-sectarian, although it is a part of the scriptural trinity of Sanatana Dharma, known as the Hinduism. The Gita is very easy to understand in any language for a mature mind. A repeated reading with faith will reveal all the sublime ideas contained in it. A few abstruse statements are interspersed here and there, but they have no direct bearing on practical issues or the central theme of Gita. The Gita deals with the most sacred metaphysical science. The main objective of the Gita is to help people struggling in the darkness of ignorance cross the ocean of transmigration and reach the spiritual shore of liberation while living and working in the society. The central teaching of the Gita is the attainment of freedom or happiness from the bondage of life by doing one's duty. One should always remember that all works are done by the energy of nature and that he or she is not the doer but only an instrument. One must strive for excellence in all undertakings but maintain equanimity in success and failure, gain and loss, pain and pleasure. Lord Krishna opined that one should fix one's mind on God with loving contemplation after bringing the senses under control. One's intellect becomes steady when one's senses are under complete control, because the mind, when controlled by the roving senses, steals away the intellect as a storm takes away a boat on the sea from its destination, the spiritual shore of peace and happiness. Bible. In the work of Rachel Allen, faith, healing and disability is vividly mentioned. Creamer stated disability is interpreted as punishment, a test of faith, an opportunity to build character or to inspire others, an occasion for the power of God to be made manifest, a sign that one lacks faith, or simply a mysterious result of God's will. Trillower found that participants reported questions concerning the relationship of disability to sin, the judgment of God, adequacy of faith, and miraculous healing. Associating in with impairment is theologically difficult for Christians. Christians believe that God is both one supreme being and three distinct persons: God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. Healing isn't necessarily about removal of impairment, but includes holistic approach to health, including the physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects of identity. Jokel and Ipoli have distinguished between healing and curing. Locker emphasized the importance of maintaining or improving quality of life as opposed to eradicating illness. Jesus' healing of physical impairment had positive social consequences, and in modern times perhaps the simple exercise of loving community and social acceptance count as healing ministry. Jesus used physical touch and divine command to heal blindness, leprosy, paralysis, bleeding, and other conditions. Islam. Hiyam al-Orfi and other Islamic philosophy has a positive attitude towards needy individuals and those who are in a disadvantaged situation. The Quran and the Hadith not only declare the existence of disabilities as a natural part of human nature, but also provided principles and practical suggestions for caring for disabled people, as well as discussing the significance of such caring. From the sources and text mentioned above from the Quran, the following can be deduced. First, weak-minded is a generic term that could comprise several groups such as very young children, mentally retarded and mentally ill individuals, and so forth. Second, the text lay down the idea of guardianship for disadvantaged individuals such as weak-minded or orphans. Third, this guardianship is subject to a sense of duty, fairness, and kindness. In addition, guardianship ceases once the individual can be held accountable for their own decision-making ability. Finally, there is a reminder from Allah that all wealth provided by Him is for the maintenance of the community as well as of individual members. The Quran distributes the burden of rectifying inequity in society by making it obligatory that Muslims give a small percentage of their income to charity or zakat. Those who are disabled are considered as having a rightful share, and giving charity is a constant reminder to Muslims of a form of social justice. Islam protects the people who are differently abled in the society with words like, "O you who believe, let not people ridicule other people, perhaps they may be better than them, nor let women ridicule other women, perhaps they may be better than them, and do not insult one another, and do not call each other offensive names." Thus, each and every religion provides one way or the other to treat the differently gifted people on this earth in a better way. It guides men to act unitedly towards the special individuals with disabilities. They may not be secluded from the society, rather must be included as a part of the society. This concept of inclusion of the disabled in the social whole is promoted by each and every religion. It can thus be concluded by saying that faith of the people indeed has a strong effect to heal other individuals from their pathological conditions. People who are differently abled in the society have got special gifts within them from God, who is believed to be the creator of this planet. Therefore, when strong feelings of positive emotions are belted out towards one singular cause, then positive outcome is found to take place in the society. If people join hands unitedly and work towards the development of the disabled individuals in the society, then the world for the differently abled can be a better place. Thank you.